Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Right now we're in the CNSL Season 6, and we just finished up the round of 32. We have our 16 next competitors, or next level competitors, and we are in Group C. This is the first group played in that round of 16. This group consists of HyuK, who you see here as our Zerg player up at 12 o'clock on Neo Sylphid, YSC, one of the stronger Protoss players recently, as Protoss over here on the right. The other two players are going to be Mihu and IcaruS. So this is a really interesting and exciting group. I love that Mihu's in it. It looks like a group that like Mihu has some potential to get out of. I think it's going to be a hard match for him either way. HyuK and YSC both pretty well regarded right now, but I feel like he can take out IcaruS. We'll talk more about that when we get to the match. But for right now, we are watching a Protoss versus Zerg. Honestly, looking at the group, I feel like the favorite is YSC. YSC is like just in very good shape right now. He's been killing it. He's been like, he didn't make it into the last ASL. That's why he's in CNSL. But he is in ASL very, very often. He plays like in the Race Survivor series and things like that. So YSC, definitely one of these Protoss players, I think, that right now people should kind of be studying and whatnot. As far as his PvZ goes, I'm trying to think of what's his defining feature there, but actually it's not coming to me. I see more YSC games against Terran than the other matchups. That's just kind of from all the extra VODs I watch that I don't cast. But anyways, he's going for a gateway expansion here, and he's going to run over to HyuK's base and find that it is, in fact, a pool first. So we'll see if he sends out that first zealot or keeps it home for defensive purposes. Right now, Larva being pulled up a little bit. So, yeah, definitely going to be making a few lings there. We'll see if HyuK tries to get aggressive. HyuK definitely someone who occasionally does mix in some high octane aggression, but he's only making a couple lings here, mostly just drones being made. So this first zealot is going to come across the map and not have too hard of a time. But obviously, you know, HyuK can make some more Zerglings, and I'm not really too worried about him taking a lot of damage. Excuse me, a little bit of a frog in my throat. So yeah, looks like YSC probably just going to come down, make his Nexus while he sends this zealot forward. Probe just running away. Drone coming as well. He probably just wants to make a hatchery up on this location. That's like a pretty common place to take your third base as Zerg on this map. And in these positions, it's really far away for Protoss to attack, and obviously very defendable with the small ramp. Now YSC comes up with his Zealot and gonna start putting some damage onto that hatchery. Decides to just walk back into the mineral patch area. Obviously, when you do this, only 1 to 2 Zerglings will be able to attack at a time. So it's just like, Zerg doesn't want to try to deal with that right now. You kind of leave it, and you try to catch it when it comes out. You can attack in and technically beat it, but you want the Zealot to be as inefficient as possible. As Protoss, you know, obviously wants it as efficient as possible. Now, looking over into HyuK's main base, he's actually getting Zergling speed, and he's pulled everything off of gas. Now, there's 2 ways this can go. Okay, he's making 6 more lings. So he's actually, this looks like it's going to be a Zergling all-in. Down at YSC's base, like, he is making a forge, and he's moving out with 3 more Zealots, but the amount of Zerglings out here, those Zealots will get surrounded pretty quickly. Yeah, there are macro builds where you go for quick speed. Hero has one that's really awesome. I was actually kind of getting excited because it's my favorite ZVP build at the moment, but yeah, I mean, Speedling all in, always a legit strat. And he just doesn't see this, man. He doesn't have any drones here. In YSC, he starts a cannon, but he just doesn't have a lot of defense. This game definitely has potential to end suddenly. If you get in here and kill off the Zealot and the cannon very quickly, that's it. Like, it looks like these 3 Zealots might kill this hatchery, but it's not the same. The damage is not the same. Look at this. He is just pouring in right now. This is going to be very tough for YSC to hold. All right, surrounds the cannon, surrounds the Zealot. Probe's coming down. This game's over. Honestly, you're not coming back from this one. The Zealot's trying to buy time, and these Zealots actually turn around without even killing the hatchery. That shows you how bad this is. Almost nothing mining at the moment. YSC trying to keep it going. But honestly, I feel like it might be a bad read overall. Like, there was 0 drones here. It didn't seem like HyuK was, you know, too interested in what was going on at that natural. you know, as far as the Zealot goes. Like, he wasn't trying to clear it or anything. And now we're down to 7 probes. He's going to GG any second, honestly. The 3 Zealots go for a counterattack, but the odds of these killing everything, like the drones and links here alone, will basically clean this up. And then, of course, he's got all these back. So GG, HyuK goes to that winner's match. So obviously getting into this next match is that first one so fast. I actually realized that I did not really explain how the round of 16 functions, so let me do that now. This is a format that ASL uses and CNSL uses. So for the round of 16, you know, obviously it's the top 2 from all the groups in round of 32, but you have your first match, and that match is a best of 1. Okay, so you play 1 map against your first round opponent, and the winner that advances or goes down to the other bracket. The next 3 matches will be best of 3 format. Okay, so yeah, it sounds kind of weird, but it kind of like shortens the day, and the first match is basically the least important because you can't get eliminated and you can't advance. So that's the thought process. I personally wouldn't make a tournament with that format, but that's the way actually they do it in Korea very oftentimes. So yeah, that's the format. So yeah, YSC that you just saw got Zergling Rush. He goes down to that loser match. HyuK awaiting the winner here of IcaruS up here at 12 o'clock. And in this bottom rightish corner, we have Mihu. So yeah, this is going to be a best of 1 as well. As far as the score graphic that you see in the bottom right of the screen, we're going to keep it just like the last round. For a match win, I'm going to add in the scores, because the map scores don't actually matter. What really matters is, you know, whether whether you win the entire match or not. There's no like tie breaks or anything like that. So yeah, map scores not important in this round of 16. So anyways, we're on Sylphid playing a TVT. We have two SCVs mining the gas here. So this looks like it's going to be an aggressive opener from IcaruS. Over on Mihu's side, there's an SCV in his base. So even if he wanted to do an aggressive opener, you can't have SCVs mining gas when your opponent's SCV is in there. You can just kind of pull him out and then put him back on. And we see he's not doing that. So Mihu definitely thinking about an expansion here. And he actually did end up pulling this one off. But look, this should be a second factory. Right? No? Oh. Okay, because look, he's got 100 gas. Like, I guess we could see a starport and then more SCVs going gas. But it looks like he wants to expand as well. Kind of funny. They both banked up a little bit more gas than you normally see. I almost feel like that's kind of meta on this particular map. Sylphid is very popular for one base, like pressure openers or one base all-ins. It's kind of short. It's very flat. And if you get any sort of unit advantage, there's no ramp for them to run up. So you can actually end a game very quickly in Terran vs. Terran on this map. Either way, they both actually have like large gas banks here. And nothing to spend that on. So like this is like anti-optimization as far as their initial builds go. But like if you were going to play against a cheese or you're going to cheese yourself, you're going to need that extra gas. But since they're running into each other and they're within 40 gas of each other, it's like, okay, well, it's actually all fine, right? They both are like slightly unoptimized in that direction. Now the second factory going down for IcaruS. Adding in additional vultures here. No add-ons yet. That's the thing that you want to check, right? The current metagame in Terran vs. Terran, if you go for factory expansion, is to make 3 to 4 vultures before an add-on. And we see that happening on both sides. So we have 2 versus 2 here, and Mihu actually... Oh, man, it looked like he got the better first volley. And you can see he's 1 volley ahead, and we're slightly closer to his base. So he's going to be up an extra vulture, which is pretty huge. Yeah, kills that off. Going to chase this one as well. There will be another one popping out. We're not going to see a game loss from IcaruS here, I don't think. But, like, this is a great opener from Mihu. Even this little bit of damage he got, he's up a vulture and up a couple SCVs at this point. Plus slower mining on that expansion. So definitely worked out very well for him. Mihu right now going into 3 factory vulture with the speed upgrade. Over on IcaruS's side, he's going 2 factory vulture, no add-ons, into the armory. So he's going to go vulture Goliath, and then we'll see where he goes from there. The most popular follow-up is a starport for wraiths. And then you have a lot... Oh, whoa. Double add-on before his armory finishes. That's interesting. That's not what I expected to see here at all. I'm not exactly sure what what his idea is, because normally in a situation like this, when they're going for, you know, like non-stop vultures off 3 facts, like look at this, it's 7 against 4. If he just happened to go up across the map, like if Mihu attacks right now, he's going to get a lot of damage. It seems like I'm a little bit confused that he hasn't attacked, to be honest, because his I feel like his barracks was getting pretty good intel. Now it is going to be a follow-up of a starport, kind of as anticipated, but the rest of the build way different. Definitely a dangerous kind of risky play here from IcaruS. Any attack would have probably crippled him when he's making 2 tanks, but now that he's going to have 2 tanks out, we're going to have to call that an edge for him as far as tech goes. More siege tanks. And yeah, you see Mihu comes in, he waits for that speed upgrade, and you can see how bad that would have been, right? If he had gone without the speed upgrade, without those 2 siege tanks there. That's the only thing really keeping him alive. 2 Goliaths on the way. He is getting into the academy, so he'll get that scan for getting rid of any mines. Mines are coming, as well as another add-on. Some more siege tanks going to be made here for Mihu. So honestly, I'm kind of thankful that Mihu did not attack there, because honestly, the game would be very close to over right now if he had. But also, it is like a little bit surprising that IcaruS took a risk like that. You know, that like maybe he's just expecting that Mihu's gonna wait until the speed upgrade or something. Either way, Mihu has map control right now, laying some mines out. He is sending his barracks back a bit. We have 4 Goliaths at this point and going up to 4 factories. So we should see a switch into vultures from IcaruS. That's pretty popular. There is a drop ship coming, which will probably contain these Goliaths. Goliath drops. It's actually come back a little bit. Here's a funny thing for you guys. Back in like 2005 through 2007 or so, Goliath drop was the most popular opening in Terran vs. Terran. Somewhere in that, I don't remember the exact like year or span of years, but like that's what we used to do a lot. Like Goliath drops were very popular for a bit. They really fell off. Nowadays, it's like, it's coming back slightly with builds like this, you know, where you're getting those additional Goliaths to make sure you don't die to vultures. And then as soon as you don't need them to not die to vultures, you send them in a dropship across the map. And your opponent who's trying to contain you with siege tanks or whatever has to keep some at home and deal with it, and it gets really annoying. So it's kind of cool to see that meta go a little bit full circle. Now, Mihu does send a few tanks back as this comes in. This is a great drop so far. Killing off a few SCVs. He is going to have to pick it up, though. Targeting SCVs as best he can. He loses 1 Goliath, but absolutely worth it for the SCVs that he killed. He's up 4 workers at this point. And actually got a second drop ship. I definitely didn't expect that. Definitely didn't expect that. And I don't think Mihu will either. Look at this kind of risky play from IcaruS. Like, he's leaving so few units at home. If Mihu got wind of this, his vultures run in and kill the tanks. Like, he's got 14 vultures here. Easily kills 2 tanks. In fact, they dominate 2 tanks. Like, vultures, like tanks counter vultures, and scaling wise, they way outdo them. But in these early game scenarios, you really have to be careful. Because again, Mihu had potential here to kill, but of course he doesn't see exactly what's going on, and IcaruS is trying to abuse that as hard as possible. Now, IcaruS does the drop. There is a tank in siege mode. He sieges up himself. He does get that volley off. Did take a couple from that tank beforehand, but look at this. The Goliath's helping to finish it off. It looks like SCV is going to come up to help clear this out, so the drop will be dealt with. Overall, it was okay, but not great. That's not like a drop that you write home about. You don't look at that and say, wow, I need to do that every game. But he's continuing to just make drop ships. This is such... Look, like, I swear to God, guys, look at how empty this natural is. If I played against this on ladder, I'd be like, I can't even believe this. He's got no defense. He's taking a 3rd base. Like, he is depending right now upon Mihu. Like, it's almost a mind game where you're like, there's no way he would have no units there. Right? He's got to have something to block me from killing him. But it's not the case. IcaruS going to fly across. He's got triple dropship. He is flying over mines, which makes it a little tricky. This is a great setup defensively for Mihu. IcaruS, we heard some scans. I think he's just getting into a position where he can drop a little bit better. In the meantime, Mihu pushing into this 3rd base. And we have a siege drop on top of the 2 tanks of the natural. Siege's up in a beautiful spot. The SCVs are going to have to come out and fight. I tell you, IcaruS is getting some damage done. Like, these moves are working somewhat, but SCVs are very good against siege tanks. In small numbers, my God, do they kill them. So down that all goes, but a good SCV advantage right now, you know, for IcaruS. Now, IcaruS is expanding to another main base while this one has been forced up. This guy is a gamble Terran in TVT. Jeez Louise. Kind of crazy to see. Mines and speed on the way. All right. So, where are we at right now? That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out, right? Because we see a big supply advantage for Mihu, and that's mostly in vultures, which he's attacking with now. So it might peter off just a little bit, but that's only a couple tanks. So he clears it really efficiently. He's got a containment up that looks very, very difficult for IcaruS to deal with. But IcaruS does have dropships out already. So, like, if you... Here's the kind of cool thing about IcaruS's build, okay? Maybe I've been a little bit harsh on it because it had a lot of holes in the strategy overall, but when you're getting contained and you already have multiple dropships out, it's not as scary. It's when you get contained and then you have to start building dropships, the timing just doesn't line up. Like, your opponent can go wraiths, or they can build turrets, or whatever. Here, having them already out, there's actually a lot of options for IcaruS to get around this containment. Whether he wants to use the dropships to help bust these positions, do some counter drops, maybe drop units on a base like this to expand to. You know, there's definitely different ways to play it. But Mihu right now is closing in a little bit, right? He's sieging up into this third base area, this command center that's been on fire forever, flying back. Maybe he wants to transport it over here for another expand. You know, IcaruS did expand over here, which is really kind of surprising. Excuse me, that's not something that you would expect here. So he's getting away with that, at least for now. Eventually, there's going to hit a moment where Mihu's like, how do you have so much gas? And then he's going to go look for it. You'll see. And then he'll just send vultures there, and you'll have to lift the command center, basically. I was wondering if he was going to try to reinforce the base with these dropships, but instead, he's going to continue that risk, just leave that base undefended, and go for some sort of, like, harassment here, a little bit of a drop. Unfortunately for him, the missile turrets plus siege tank setup, and look at this, mines even on the side. It's going to be hard for him to find any damage. Wraiths on the way? Yeah, I don't think there's a lot for this drop to do, honestly. This is a pretty well-defended base against 2 dropships. Now, obviously, if it was like 8 dropships and... Holy crap, he drops on a mine. Oh, he lost 2 vultures and a lot of damage to those siege tanks. There's going to be a wraith popping out, so all of this is dead. All of this is dead. All right, IcaruS continues to produce here. He does have a lot of units. His supply doing pretty good. He's actually up as far as workers go, but that's a lot of siege tanks there for Mihu. No upgrades as of yet, whereas IcaruS already working on that +2. It's kind of fun to see, you know, like a high-level Korean amateur player like IcaruS go up against Mihu and to see the differences in style. This is something I talk about a lot, especially in Mihu's Terran versus Protoss. He's not an upgrade Terran, he's a unit Terran. So you see, he's got all these units. He's got more units. Look at this, 0 upgrades. He has started +1, but look at IcaruS. Despite all the crazy stuff that's happened, he already has +1, and his +2 is actually going to finish before the +1 of Mihu. So when that finishes, he's going to be almost invincible. But Mihu's attacking before we get into that range. Gets up here with the vultures. They're taking a lot of hits. His tanks siege as well, and he's going to be able to eliminate this entire army right there. There are some tanks on the side. There are reinforcing units coming down for IcaruS. See if IcaruS can re-break this this push, this containment that's occurring right now. Does bust a couple of the tanks there. Looks like he'll probably lose this tank as well, unfortunately. But, you know, if he can hold on to this general area, it gives him a wide enough zone that he has a higher percentage chance of, like, breaking out in the future. By the way, these 2 dropships just now being dealt with. Just now. Tries to come in and drop. Yeah, so that got cleaned, and suddenly we see that difference, right? It's 11 SCV advantage, but down supply as well. So he's down like 20 army supply at the moment. Now he's going 3 factory siege tanks. He's adding in Goliaths. He's got a lot of gas because of this base. That, again, I think we're going to see Mihu kind of surprised and figure it out suddenly. it's like this thing that clicks in your head. You kind of keep track of what your opponent has, right? And like you'll look at it and say like, oh, that's Vulture Heavy, for instance. Maybe he's going Wraith because he should have more tanks. You know, something like that. Or like, wait, how does he have so many tanks? I denied his third gas. And then you suddenly figure it out. So that's going to be a tough moment for IcaruS. Mihu comes up with a couple Wraiths to kind of harass over here. We do have Goliath, so this is not the biggest deal. There's also +2, so if he targets, he's going to smash, but the Vulture's actually taking the brunt of these siege tanks. Good move there. Pulls his Wraiths back just in the nick of time. So we have that big upgrade advantage right now for IcaruS. In fact, he's even started 3-2. That's some intense upgrades. Still making dropships. This base is doing everything for him. Like, if he didn't have this, I feel like this game would be closing out right now. Like, Mihu would literally, I'd be talking about how he's about to win. But with that additional hidden base, look at the amount of dropships he's gotten. His upgrades are absolutely immaculate. And when you start getting up to this amount of dropships, it almost doesn't matter how far behind you are. Well, it matters some, but like you can get so much done. You can just like fly over missile turrets and destroy bases. If you kill a main base, you know, you're always getting really close to just victory at that point. Now, IcaruS is trying to push over on this right-hand side. Does bust a couple tanks, keeps that command center healthy for now. Mihu looks like he may readjust in this area. Still not scouting the left-hand side of the map. Four add-ons for Mihu. He does have the science facility, so that +2 just got started so late compared to his opponent. In fact, 3-2 will be done before +2 for Mihu. If that doesn't show the difference between Korean Terrans and Mihu, I don't know what will. Like, really. It's a thing in TVP as well. Like, upgrades are very important in TVP, and most Korean Terrans are upgrade Terrans, where you just get the quick armory and focus on that. Mihu, you can see absolutely not. The brute force of having a lot of units on the map to, you know, push into your opponent, to keep pressure on them, you know, to try to kill him. Now, 6 dropships. This is deadly. Whatever is in there, this is super deadly. We'll see where he goes with that. It looks like he wants to go towards the main base. Just taking a look. That could be a killing move. Like I was talking about before, Mihu may counterattack, but these +2 upgrades going to help a lot. Here comes that giant drop. So we have 2 big moves at the moment. Now some tanks are coming up for Mihu. This is incredibly important. If he can stop the push and just lose up here, he'll be happy, right? Because this, like I said, this has the potential to just straight up kill. Now these units going over and killing off the mineral base. So the mineral base looks like it should die. The dropships have offload. I want to see these dropships fly back. He's going to at least kill all of these depots. Mihu, you know, this is where you, what do you call it, like triage or something? You're just trying to deal with the situation as best you can. If he can save this armory in these factories, I feel like that'll be okay. Like, it's still playable. If he loses the factories, that's where it's like, yeah, you can't re-add those. That's not going to happen. Now, a Wraith going up, and there's actually nothing else left there. Ooh, Mihu with the tanks on the other side. Very swift move. But yeah, it looks like he will clean this up. Loses a lot of depots. It's a little bit cost inefficient, but ends up holding. The dropship's still doing such great work here for IcaruS. In fact, he's even putting SCVs in. Honestly, this is probably the time where you're offloading here or here. Because Mihu, like, by now, he should actually have the feeling like, wait, how do you have, like, 3-2, 6 dropships, full of tank Goliath? Like, you shouldn't have that much gas. So I feel like Mihu, his star sense not tingling by now is, you know, I mean, sometimes you're just not going to catch on to things. We've had pros that have played entire pro matches and they didn't get Dragoon range and things like that. It's happened to all of us. But yeah, definitely slightly off in that regard. Now, this army is in position. If an attack moves here, this is dead. This spot, a little bit harder. With 3-2 tanks on the high ground and that many Goliaths, doesn't seem as breakable. Well, actually, with this many tanks, you would technically break this. If you attack right, you're kind of in a line. You buffer with tank Vulture Goliath, and you move up in siege, you will bust. Like, even if you're missing, like, 80% of your shots, you should still be able to break through. All right, gets up here. And, of course, you might want to throw, like, one scan down. There you go. There's the scan. and he just has way too much. So this base looks like it might die, but more dropships coming in. We have the potential here, if he has a bunch of siege tanks, to continue to hold. The frontal siege tanks are getting cleared really quickly. These back ones will stay alive, but if he can hit the command center, you know, that's where the base still is going to be in trouble. Yeah, looking pretty good there. Mihu, he's got this base up, the mineral base. This base is getting pretty low at this point, depleted just about everything. Hasn't set up a base here, and in fact, his containment's mostly gone. Well, in the center, I guess. The right-hand side and left-hand side still have those containment pieces. This base just shut down. I can't believe this. He's over half mined the geyser, okay? So we can actually, like, measure how long it's been there, right? So if it's, like, 2,800 gas, what is that? 300 gas a minute. Dude, he's been mining there forever. He has been mining there for so long, and it just has not been spotted. Now, the Wraith's coming up. This base is Dunzos. That's it for this base. So, IcaruS right now, this is all he really has going on. And that's going to be it. GG. Mihu goes to the winner's match.